Hello. Today's Thursday, and this is Unedited. Coming at you live here every Thursday, well, almost every Thursday. It's been a while since we've actually had a Thursday show, but that's just us. That's kind of what we do here. We kind of play things by ear, and we allow people to come in when they come in, if they come in. But this week, I want to introduce somebody who's basically a starter business. Somebody who's just starting in, dabbling their feet in, but ready to take off and earn respect. Please welcome from everybody.com, my favorites, the one and only. She is Joss B.
Hello.
That's right. The audience loves you. They don't even know you yet, and they're ready for you here. This is Rob Morales, RCO Network, here on Thursdays talking to entrepreneurs and small businesses about their business and things they got going on and the aspirations that they have. This week is no different with Joss B, starting her business at the inception. We are at the pinnacle point where things are about to take off for her. So please welcome Joss B. Hello, miss.
Hi.
You got to talk way closer.
How's this?
We got to get you in the mic.
I feel in it. I feel... Let me scoot my chair forward.
She's scooting a little bit. She's actually wearing a little bit of her gear, and we may get to that, so primarily... Oh, there goes the music. Let me adjust that a little bit. Hello.
Well, hi.
Hi. How are you?
Great.
Are you ready?
Yes.
We're live,
Perfect. I'm ready. I have no choice.
We try to be relaxed in these things, but we like I said, we invite people on the show, especially on the Thursday one, to talk about kind of what they got going on. And you have a business that is ready to take off. January 2022, we have Joss starting a business. Tell us a little bit about that, miss.
Absolutely. I started dancing.
Yeah.
In my 30s. In most rooms, I'm the oldest person. I'm very tall. I'm 5'10" in heels, 4-inch heels. I'm 6'2". So I take up a lot of space.
You're 6'2"?
In heels.
Oh, shit.
In heels, I'm 6'2".
You were a little tall the other day when I was here. I'm like, oh, I got to perk up a little bit.
And I found, with all the time that I spend in dance classes, wearing a certain outfit really hypes you up. I do heels.
Yeah.
So looking the part really makes a difference. Having your hair done, having makeup, earrings, accessories, and the clothes you wear can really help you play a part when you're performing, even if it's performing for yourself in the mirror, performing for a solo in a video, or people that are just at home performing on TikTok or making videos of themselves, trying to explore their creative side. And I found that I was shopping and going to different websites, trying ASOS, Shein, going to the store, trying to find things that fit me. And I found, I'm not the skinniest person, not the most fit. Things aren't as perky as they used to be. That it's difficult to find things that fit, have support, and are fashionable and look good, and not traditional dance clothes.
Do you think people's go-to is kind of like... kind of that sportswear, when people feel uncomfortable. I guess I find it more towards women, and I'm not too shy to say, hey, I've looked for Spanx too, because you get a little of the muffin top. Guys are not as bad. I should say bad, but not as, I guess, observant of those things. But I'm kind of girlish, so I'm okay with that. But with women, I think there's a sense of comfort when it fits and it feels comfortable. Not necessarily that it looks comfortable, that it feels comfortable. The part of the at least my perspective, and you can fill in, I guess, is women tend to be more kind of extroverted and kind of be on display more than men. There's that pressure, that social pressure, right?
Yes.
You feel in?
I feel it now.
Yeah.
No, sure. I feel it all the time, especially on social media, to always look good, present your best self. Superficial stuff doesn't really matter that much, especially as you get older and know yourself a little bit better. That stuff shouldn't matter. But there's times, like when you're staring yourself down in a mirror in a room full of 20-year-olds, where having positive self-talk becomes really difficult. And wearing something can help transport you to say, no, actually, you're a bad bitch. Actually, you're amazing. Actually, you look great for your age. Actually, it's incredible that you just showed up for yourself and took the extra step to put on something that makes you feel good. And you're right. Feeling is the first step, because if it's too tight, you feel some bulge coming out, it doesn't hold you in, it's see-through, not on purpose, because sometimes you want see-through. Sometimes you want see-through clothes, not on purpose. It gives you the little bit of boost of confidence to perform, to be there, to show up for yourself. And not just women, I can say. Yeah. There are men in the classes with me. They're all shapes and sizes. There's moms. There are people who have non-conventional bodies. Yeah. It's not just the people you see performing live and on Instagram.
So, and in our discussion, as we prepped up for the show, you know, a lot of what I was picking up is that you want to build this sense of confidence with the people. You want to give them, I guess, a ways or a means to feel their true self. And we don't always feel that way. You know, I don't wake up every single day, you know, like, oh my God, I feel great. You know, there are days where I, you know, kind of go through my rack of clothes and I'm like, you know, I used to look good in that, and shit, it is tight today. You know, okay, screw it. I'm just going to put it on and strut. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm never going to wear that again. And just, it ends up in the closet, you know? And again, the thing that I picked up, you know, in our conversation is that you want to really kind of build that confidence. And that plays into the name, right? Every, and it's not every body, not everybody. It's every. Is there a purpose or a meaning behind that?
Branding.
Branding.
It's really only it's a branding and copyright.
Yeah, and sometimes it's kind of weird. You stumble upon those things as you're starting a business. You're like, you know, when I was looking for names, a CEO network was already taken. So like when I was going and fishing through like GoDaddy to look for just a domain name, one that popped up was Our CEO, and that was mostly by accident. Is that kind of like that everybody too, or is that more intentional?
It's a little bit more intentional. Yeah. You know, not having the E doesn't really matter that much, but yeah. it's the recognition of having it be a little bit off, like kind of yeah. clickbait, like we were talking about. Yeah. People notice, like, that's not right. Wait a minute, let me check that out. So there's that aspect, but also it really went through maybe like 300 different names for this organization before I landed on that one, because I was trying to find something that was inclusive. How do you make people feel empowered? How do you make people feel like it can be for them? How do you create this sense of inclusion and set yourself apart as a brand, so that you can have an impact, and that really does matter. And kind of going back to what you were talking about, I got dressed up today to come in here.
She looks good, by the way. If you could be in here with me, you would see the full bodiedness of this. You know, I am engaged, miss, but I do admire beauty when one walks through the door, and this is in essence. Do you want to show people? I can.
Oh, sure.
Maybe. Let me put it up there. You know.
I can do a little
bit of a dance.
I mean, I could.
Oh, hello.
See some cute little shorts.
And this is mostly sportswear related material, and again, this is the stuff that you knocked the light over. That is okay. But again, this is a sports related material to make you feel good. Do you think a lot of that transfers over to what you're doing too? How you feel, your progression, and where you're at?
100%.
Oh boy.
You know, I
tap into everything around here.
I walk into class, and again, I'm a little bit older. I'm not a classically trained dancer. I dance with a lot of really great dancers. Some of them move to LA and become professionals here in the Phoenix area. There's a wonderful dance community. I travel often, and everywhere I go, I find a heels class because I want to connect with people. I want to see what they're wearing. I want to see what their technique is like. I want to meet the people. It is truly a community. Yeah. And I've found that wearing something that takes me out of myself, takes me out of my element, and makes me feel like I am zhuzhed up a little bit, 100% totally improves my ability to do that. And then I'll wear it outside of class on the way home, and I'll stop at a store, and I'll keep having that feeling of feeling amazing about myself and kind of strutting. And people will come to me and say, you always have the best fits in class. You always look so great. One day, I hope they say to me, your technique is really fantastic. But, you know, you take it where you can get it, because performance is not about doing it perfectly. Performance is not about being the best. Performance is about captivating people. Yeah.
I will say people have captivated me, and they weren't always on cue. They weren't always on step. But the sheer emotion, even if somebody's like dancing kind of erratically. I mean, we've all gone to a wedding or something where somebody's just like totally into the dancing, and it's like, it's somewhat comical, but then at the end of the day, it's like, wow, they were really into that. And even though if they were like all weird dancing, they weren't even on cue at all, you know, but you're captivated by the emotion that they're sharing. And really dance is all about performance, and it's all about external sense of performance. But I did want to share the website a little bit since we have it up. It is coming soon. So get ready, folks. Everybody.com. It's getting ready. If you want to put your email address in there, but everybody without the E, I think that kind of emulates a little bit of kind of that loss, maybe, by picking it up. You're trying to take what somebody feels as a loss and accentuate that as a strength in their performance and what they wear.
I didn't think about that until now, but that's very astute of you, and I do feel that way.
Maybe accidentally, but intentionally, subconsciously.
Maybe.
It's a lot of big words. We use lots of big words here on RCO Network. But as we transition to the second part, of the show, I understand the passion. And when it's come down to, developing, our business, RCO Network's one business, that what I do on the side that actually, makes significant money is something else. But at the inception of things, it's like, I have this passion. I want people to know, I want people to share. And on the business end, I want people to pay or buy it, but I don't want to take away from the passion of it, and I think that's the challenge with anything like RCO Network on the beginnings of that. It's like, I have this sense of wanting to help people just like yourself, and I see that same passion within you. And as I developed it, I'm like, I don't want to make money a part of this, but shit, I need to pay the bills too. I do want to make this something into something that's bigger and have people come and recognize it and just of themselves, just be happy that they're a part of this. But at the same time, you have to monetize it somehow. And the biggest challenge for me is that balance, right? Keeping the passion, keeping the dance and the feeling, the emotions behind it without diminishing it by money and monetary gain and the business structure. Is that kind of where you're at right now? Or
I'm 100% there. I think, starting a business, that's a place where a lot of people are in. Because when you own a business, it becomes your life. Yeah. You don't turn it off. It's not like a job you can walk away from. And it's really important that if you're going to commit yourself to something like that, it has to be something that you care about. It has to be something that you love. Or else it doesn't work, or else it falls flat. You find too many excuses to walk away from it. Making an impact is something I found I cared about. Dance was something I knew. And finding clothes that fit all people of all shapes and sizes was a non-existent thing out there that was needed. Like, it was a gap in the market. So I said, I can congregate all of these things I'm capable of doing, and I think I can give this a run, But, talking about the monetary piece of it, there was definitely a part at the beginning when I decided I was going to do this where I had to change the way that I felt about money in this process. And I decided that I had to approach starting a brand, which is different than creating a product. At this juncture, I'm not making these products, I'm not designing them, but that's probably something I would like to do in the future to accommodate more body shapes and more sizes. However, I had to change my relationship with money because I would function out of scarcity and fear. If I thought of it like, okay, this is going to be my full-time job, this is how I need to create my livelihood, this is what I'm going to live off of. And starting a business, especially for the first time, that's scary. And you start pulling back at that point. So I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to see this as an investment. I'm going to put aside this number of thousands of dollars. I'm going to use this as a learning experience. And all that I care about is that I do it. And I said, I can eat this money. I've wasted money on less important things. And I'm going to say, even if this fails, especially if this fails, I will learn something from it. I will probably impact people in a positive way. And so that's not lost. And whatever I do next, I will be able to say, okay, I have all of this great experience. And it'll probably cost me more along the way. There's always unconsidered costs. I just did a photo shoot. Was hoping to do that in an inexpensive way. And, that's not really how things work.
Correct.
But it was an investment that was worthwhile. Now I have brand photos. I have to find a retoucher, and it's going to cost more. But from that point, I can take one step closer to actually launching this business and stop putting off getting that site started that I had previously.
We did talk about procrastinating a bit.
Yes.
So part of the show and part of why we go through this process is to explore those things. Really, the emotions behind a lot of what you're trying to do. There is a bit of a hesitation. Have you touched upon what that hesitation is?
Failing is even though I've told you I've reconciled myself with hey, this is going to fail, and if nothing else, like, I can learn from it. That's easier said than done.
The craziest thing, you can watch any YouTube video. You can I sent her a video yesterday on Simon Sinek. Did you watch it by chance?
I haven't watched it, but I'm familiar with Simon Sinek.
It's called The Infinite Game Theory. But with all that, hey Tom, how's it going? We love you too. But with that particular video. He does talk about infinite game theory, and very much so about that process of how you evaluate money and what you're trying to do, and that perspective. But there's something that keeps holding you back from that, and again, you identified it as fear of failure, but do you think it's a little bit deeper than that?
Probably.
And what we talked about yesterday was just kind of like this community. We don't want to disappoint the people in our lives. When somebody, and the biggest thing for me was my dad. When I first started my real estate business, when I first approached him and told him, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to be a real estate agent." I don't know. Just that little tone, you're like, "Oh shit, I got to get ready for this." I don't know, son. He didn't want to say no. You could tell he wanted to say no, but he's like, "Oh, what are you going to do for insurance? If you go work for the state, it's a good job." He worked for the state. He got a pension. He retired, and he was set. It's a very simple life, not for me. But in that approach, when you come with an idea and you want to share in that idea with the people you love the most, who you feel will be the biggest supports, they have that kind of withdrawal. It's like, that's really demotivating. And I think identifying that fear of failure is to go back to him, a year later and say, hey, I did that whole real estate thing and I'm going to go back to work. Well, I told you, son, like I was just like, but you don't want that. You don't want to like have to owe up. Right. And that's where that fear comes from. You're trying to impress the people that love you the most. Love you in their way, of course, which is kind of weird, because you don't seek their approval, but subconsciously you do. Because
you never had it.
Correct.
Exactly.
And you hate more than anything else for them to throw it in your face later and be like, "Oh, I told you." And like, those are like death to like stabbing in the back. Like, I knew it.
Sometimes that can be used as fodder for proving them wrong, which is not the most positive way to go about something. You did bring up something interesting, and I feel like in this case, I actually do have support from loved ones close to me in this endeavor. I guess my concern, and I was thinking...
What's holding you back?
I was thinking about this morning. It's funny that you bring this up. I'm afraid to fail in the eyes of my dance community. I'm afraid to fail the people that I want to serve, actually, and the people that I see constantly and that I'm connected to, which is why we've talked about how I want to separate myself personally from the business. Because if I do it wrong or if I don't show up in the way that I hope to as quickly as I hope to, because it takes time to build a business and do all the things you want and create sizes for everyone, no matter how tall, short, large.
Well, I would say, like, in this exploration, since we're talking and it's really just you and me here, I think part of the business in itself is selling the confidence. And, being a team leader, being the chair for our committee, I can never seem to have a bad day. And there are days I just want to like sit down and fucking cry, and I'm not too ashamed to admit that. Sometimes it's overwhelming. Sometimes I just have a fucking bad day, and it's hard to admit that to a group of people you're supposed to lead, and as a business, it's like, well, how can I be weak in front of people that I need to be strong for? And if that's my entire business, how can I pursue this if I'm the weak one? And that's probably the biggest thing that I see for you in the sense of where you're at. It's like, you can't have a bad day. And I feel that almost every day. Like talking to Angela, I was having a bad day yesterday, and part of me is like, okay, don't say anything. Just hold back, because you're supposed to be the lead. You're not supposed to have a bad day. But you do. You're fucking human, for God's sake.
Bad days all
and
the
give
time.
yourself a break. That's what I told her yesterday. I said, give yourself a break.
I have bad days all the time. It's an easy thing to say, take it easy. But it's, it's so funny because dance is my conduit for being kind to myself. Yeah. And so it's kind of funny. I've created this self-perpetuating situation where I'm doing something good, but then I'm faced with myself in the mirror and afraid to fail and saying something bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's why I think I decided to do it, because I need to face it and I need to push through it. And why I said, okay, January 2022, guess what? I'm held to that. I'm accountable for that now. That's out on the internet. Like, I have to do that now.
Like this video?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not an accident, because I want to push through that. I want to do better. I want to not be held back by that. And people found out that I was doing this. Like, I had no idea, Joss. I was afraid to tell anyone about it. I was afraid to fail. It's kind of like when you are younger, you may not be confident and secure in your group of friends or your social network,
Yeah.
and you want to throw a big party, and you want to go all in. But what if no one shows up? You know, and you put all this into it, and no one shows up. Like, what does that mean? And the reality is, it's not personal, not really.
Yeah.
You learn from it, and then you do it again, and it becomes the party at that house. Has nothing to do with what someone knows about you personally.
Yeah, and I think there has to be a community and group outside of that. You know, outside of what you're trying to do, what your goals are, what your ambitions are, because people do. And I hate quantifying anything. Like we were talking about before the show, I find myself quantifying things because it's easier to digest, you know. And there's a lot of times I feel like I'm at a level 5 on a 0 to 10 scale, and people come to me who are 5 and below because they feel inspired. They see kind of where we're going and the direction we're going, but I know that I can't fall back because they're looking at me for that support. And then of course I'm at a 5, or at least I feel that way. So I'm looking for 6 and above to help me and support me to feel vulnerable and say, hey, you know what, shit, I had a bad day. And that's why I wanted to create this network and create this circle of people to say, outside of my normal business structure, outside of my immediate circle, to say, hey, there's a group of people out here that are ambitious, who are strong, who are assertive, but have fucking bad days too. And to let go in front of these people to allow me to be strong in front of the people I need to serve. And we talked about that. We talked about service and giving. And if your business isn't serving or giving, I do feel it's for the wrong purposes. And if it's all for monetary gain, you'll probably make a lot of money, but it won't necessarily feel on that passion that I think that you're after, which is kind of interesting. So as I'm here with Joss B from everybodied.com. We're talking about how to be confident and finding yourself not only in dance, but in yourself and what you wear. So that's it's an upcoming website. So I'm going to go put that up here right now. Hello, for those people who are watching. Yes, Tom, we are the greatest people, and we have a pleasure of knowing you too.
Thanks, Tom.
So everybody.com. Just click on there every so often in January to see when the next when she's coming up, because we're calling her on the carpet. There is no more procrastinating. She's got to get this shit up because you know what? She doesn't like it when we call her to the carpet and she doesn't produce. So in January, by January 31st, we're getting an online commitment right now, right, Ms. Jones?
Absolutely.
Online commitment. By January 31st, this website will be full with pictures and engaging and talking about her story.
Yes, absolutely. Products.
Absolutely.
Buy them. Yeah.
So the other thing that, before we head out, we got about 7 minutes. Before we head out, is kind of that transition part. You're still working, right? Still work full time, and you're trying to take
I have a career, outside of my business. I do.
We won't talk about it too much, but the other thing I see with a lot of people who are starting ideas, who are starter businesses, kind of have that kind of tether back to something that's secure. So a regular paycheck is somewhat secure when you're trying to be ambitious, but it's also a tether. When you want to try to fly, you have a leash on you. You're like a parakeet being let out of its cage, but yet you still have a tether. And so do you find challenges in that too? Do you find that, you have a great idea and you want to work on the website today, but shit, I got a conference call at noon, stuff like that?
I did feel that. I actually left my previous position.
Yeah.
I needed a break, but I decided I was going to spend some of that time building this.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll give myself 4 months. I'll make something, I'll create it, I'll get it up, and then I'll go back to work so that the work that needs to be done will be iterating, learning, looking at analytics, improving, hearing what people are saying about it, seeing what people want. Maybe I'm wrong about who I'm trying to serve, and I want that information. So I'm at that point now where I'm interviewing, looking to go back to work, which is why I really need to get it up so that I'll meet those goals. Because, I felt like I wanted to do it. I incorporated the LLC before I left my job. And I was like, I want to get running. I want to do these things, and I don't have the time. And I'm doing this other thing that may not matter as much to me as building this brand and investing in myself. But it kind of leads back to being 1 foot out the door, right? Like, you're right, being tethered. And I think what that comes down to is trust, which also comes back to fear. And that's something I've been working on personally is building trust within myself, especially when I'm doing something for the first time.
Yeah.
Usually like a few tries, and this comes up in my life all of the time.
Do you find it hard to take your own advice?
I feel like
yes. So
the answer,
I hate tapping into things.
Okay,
it just called me,
It's hard to trust that I'm making the right decision.
Absolutely.
It's not having the sense of support and security as a young person, pretty much ever. made it really difficult to know when I was making the right choice. And I always thought that I was, and they were usually quite short-sighted because they were based off of scarcity. So I've been working through this in a number of ways, reading and therapy, to trust myself, to build that trust back with myself, because I made a lot of choices that weren't good for me, and I broke that that trust with myself. Yeah. And
well, what I find, it doesn't matter if it's a paycheck. There's a tether that we all have, and sometimes many and multiple. You know, in taking off with RCO Network, a large part of my tether is my real estate business. That occupies so much time, and you know, I love it. I mean, there was a point in my career, where like I would have died for the amount of business I get now. You know, you go 6 months, and this was my first full-time year. Going 6 months, I didn't have a paycheck. I was living off of savings, and I left the state, and so I had like 4 weeks vacation. So I was like Taco Belling it as much as I could, and luckily my roommate wasn't charging me rent at the time, and that really solidified this idea like, hey, I need to pursue this 100% because I can't go back. I already put in the resignation letter. I can't go back, you know. And it wasn't until my 6th month in business that I made $18,000 that month, which at that point was like amazing from making zero for the first 6 months, and that was a signal to me emotionally to carry on. And that's a large amount for anybody, but you know, at that time it was like, holy shit, I got to pay off some bills because shit was in the red on the back end. And it's scary. It is ultimately scary, but I remember those days. And as we pursue this as a goal, you know, I still have those anxieties and fears. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I focusing on the right thing? The other business is kind of taking off, you know, still. And like, I'm so overwhelmed at times and in a good way. But yeah, I still have those fears and anxieties taking off. Now, is it the right message? Am I doing the right thing? Am I focusing on it? But the amazing part is, on that journey, the opportunities presented themselves. And the more you're tethered back to everything, whether it's a paycheck, whatever tethers are in that mind of yours, will always pull you back from that ultimate goal, from the overall. It's diminishing. It's pulling it away. And at the end of the day, I wish there was 2 of me, but there's not. And the real estate part really tethers me back to doing the more profound things that I feel, the more, I guess, the bigger picture. There's a bigger picture to help people like yourself see that and know that, hey, there's people out here struggling too. There are leaders that need leaders to kind of like help us through some of this bullshit, you know. And it's really in our own mind. And 90% of it is in our mind. It might be our reality, and we might focus in on a spouse or the dog shit on the carpet today, so I couldn't make it to that meeting, whatever excuse it may be, but it's all really in our own minds. You know, how we see it, how we perceive it.
How do you build trust with yourself? You said, you know, it's interesting to hear that am I doing it right? And you seem to be doing this very right.
Am I?
I don't know.
Anybody out there that thinks that I'm doing this right. Building trust is really identifying what your issues are. And a large part of what my exploration these last few years has really been introverted. I am an introvert by nature. We've established he's an extrovert. Miss Joss is an extrovert. But a large part of my strength is my contemplation. I can stay there in exhaustion. I can stay there contemplative and know that I can research things to an extent. And that's why it's so easy for me to articulate these things to you when I see them. And it's very clear to me when she's got stuff on her mind. And I think it's probably scary on her end because you're like, how do you know?
I know my face doesn't hide anything. I know this about myself.
Yeah, and so really exploring those things and taking the time, psychology, sociology, social psychology, the way you interact with people. The first thing we did yesterday when I first met her was take her with Mars and a disc assessment. That allowed me to really, and I already kind of knew beforehand, but it really solidified what my thought process was because I wrote down exactly what her personality types were before she finished the test. And I was so on. Right. I was on that day. But once you start identifying those things, you can start to connect to people better. And you start seeing them for who they are. And you don't use that for manipulation. You use it for support. Because very easily you can go the other way. And you can easily crush somebody as much as support them. And I just choose to be on the supportive side. But a large part of that is understanding that that's me too. I am broken too. And once I understand how broken and what ways, I can start to mend those. It's never going to be fixed because it's, you know, my fears and shit, they're all embedded subconscious. They're just in there, you know, but I can be above that in a way. I can be stronger for that by seeing it and accepting it. and talking about, we won't get into past traumas because it's the end of the show anyway, but, accepting that things happen to you in the worst of ways, and knowing that you can use it as a tool. Use it as a tool to help people and inspire them too, even if it's the worst thing that you feel it's happened. If that makes sense. Anybody else? Anybody else out there? Give us a heart if you connect with that. But we're definitely at the end of the show. Can you believe 30 minutes went that quickly?
It seems like we just started talking.
I know.
Yeah.
It always does that for some reason. So I'm going to go ahead and post Joss's website one more time. Here we go. Joss B. Everybody.com. If you want to go on there sometime in January, we're going to have it up. We can make an announcement. Maybe we can have you back and say, hey, it's up and running. We're calling you the Carpet Miss. Do we have a date?
We do not have a date.
It's obviously coming soon, and we've done saying January, so obviously the date has to be January 31st. That is the ultimate date.
That is the ultimate date, or before.
And we will do
Absolutely.
Before. So as always, Miss, you get the last words. If there's anything profound, anything that you want to express, anything that's inspired you today, you have the floor, Miss.
Ooh.
Oh,
well,
shit.
I want to thank you for creating a safe space.
Thank me?
Yeah, absolutely.
We didn't even have alcohol.
I don't need alcohol. No, thank you for creating a safe space, because you're right.
Yeah.
Everyone is broken, and that's totally great. And it's important to see the scariest things in life and the things that are most unplanned as our biggest opportunities. And I'm taking on that mindset as well, and I feel inspired by this conversation today, and I think that that's pretty huge. So
that's awesome.
You're making an impact and you're helping people.
Well, I hope so. But I do want to thank everybody for joining us every Thursday, or sort of every Thursday. Yeah, we kind of skipped a couple weeks there, but Rob Morales, our CEO Network, with Joss B coming up. She's going to be a new business coming up and making some waves. I almost anticipate it. Her personality and where she's at. Oh, she'll be back. She'll be back. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you have any comments or questions, if you want to connect with Joss, you can go find her websites. We'll post them somewhere. I don't know. It's the end of this show. So, yeah. Thank you all. We'll catch you guys another Thursday. Some other. Later.